You're standing in Best Buy on a Tuesday afternoon and something feels off. The salesman just told you that 70-inch TV on sale is the deal of the century. 4K, smart features, only $499. Your gut says something's wrong, but you can't put your finger on it. Here's what he didn't tell you. That TV was designed to fail, and companies are betting you won't figure it out until it's too late. I've been in this industry for 15 years, and what I'm about to reveal will make you question every TV purchase you've ever made. We're ranking the top 10 TV brands from absolute worst to surprisingly best, specifically for people who just want a television that works without the tech headaches. Some of these rankings are going to shock you, especially number 3. But before we dive in, you need to understand the game being played against you. The TV industry discovered something brilliant about 5 years ago. If they make TVs cheap enough, people will buy them even when they're garbage. Then when it breaks in 18 months, you'll just buy another cheap one. It's planned obsolescence disguised as affordability. My neighbor Helen learned this the hard way. She bought what looked like an incredible deal, a 65-inch TV for $300. 6 months later, half the screen went dark. The company told her it would cost more to fix than to replace. That's not a bug. That's the business model. Now, you might be thinking this only happens with unknown brands, but I'm about to show you that some of the biggest names in electronics are playing the same game. Starting at number 10, we have Westinghouse. Yes, that Westinghouse. The name that once meant American quality and innovation. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. The Westinghouse you see in stores today has nothing to do with the company your parents trusted. Some random corporation bought the rights to slap that iconic name on whatever cheap panels they could source from overseas. It's like buying a Cadillac and discovering it's actually a golf cart with a fancy badge. The picture quality is muddy, colors look washed out, and the smart features are so slow you could make a sandwich while waiting for Netflix to load. I had a customer named Robert who bought one thinking he was getting that old-school Westinghouse reliability. 3 months in, the remote stopped working. Then the Wi-Fi started dropping constantly. When he called customer service, they told him to unplug it and plug it back in. That was their entire troubleshooting process. The worst part is the sound. Dialogue is impossible to hear unless you crank the volume to levels that make your neighbors think you're hosting a rock concert. For seniors who already struggle with hearing, this becomes a daily frustration. You end up buying a sound bar just to understand what people are saying on screen, which defeats the whole purpose of buying a cheap TV in the first place. At number 9, we have Insignia, Best Buy's house brand. This is what happens when a retailer decides to cut out the middleman and make their own TVs. Sounds smart in theory, disastrous in practice. Insignia TVs are built to a price point, not a quality standard. The panels are dim, the viewing angles are terrible, and the built-in speakers sound like someone talking through a tin can from across the street. But here's what really bothers me about Insignia. They prey on trust. You're in Best Buy, a store you've shopped at for years. You see their brand name and think it must be decent because why would they sell garbage under their own label? That's exactly what they're counting on. My friend's mother bought an Insignia for her bedroom. Within a year, a green line appeared down the middle of the screen. Best Buy told her it was normal wear and tear. Normal wear and tear for watching the evening news and Jeopardy 3 times a week. The remote is another nightmare. Tiny buttons with no backlighting, so if you're watching TV at night, good luck finding anything without turning on a lamp first. Number 8 brings us to Hisense, and this one's complicated. Hisense is trying really hard to be a premium brand while keeping budget prices. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they fail spectacularly. It's like ordering at a restaurant that can't decide if it's fine dining or a diner. Their mid-range models can actually be pretty impressive. Good color, decent brightness, features that used to cost twice as much. But their quality control is all over the place. You might get a fantastic TV that lasts 5 years. Or you might get one where the panel starts failing after 6 months. It's a lottery. And at your age, do you really want to gamble? I've seen Hisense TVs where the local dimming goes haywire, creating weird bright spots that look like someone's shining a flashlight behind the screen. Others develop a subtle flicker that gives people headaches. The customer service is hit or miss too. Sometimes you get someone helpful, other times you're transferred 6 times and end up more confused than when you started. Here's what really happened to my customer, Patricia. She bought a Hisense U8N because the reviews looked great and the price was right. For the first 3 months, she absolutely loved it. Called me up to thank me for the recommendation. Then one morning, she turned it on and half the screen was darker than the other half. She thought maybe she needed to adjust settings, spent an hour going through menus trying to fix it. Nothing worked. When she finally got through to customer support, they wanted her to ship the TV back at her own expense. This was a 65-inch TV. Do you know what it costs to ship something that size? More than she paid for her last vacation. Eventually, they agreed to send someone out, but it took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of watching a broken TV or not watching TV at all. That's the Hisense gamble. When it works, it's great value. When it doesn't, you're going to earn every penny you saved in frustration and hassle. Now we're at number 7, TCL, and here's where things get interesting. 5 years ago, I would have put TCL near the bottom of this list. But something changed. They started actually caring about quality. Their 6 series models offer picture quality that rivals TVs costing twice as much. The colors pop, the blacks are deep, and the smart interface using Roku is genuinely simple to use. My Uncle Bill, who's 73 and barely knows how to text, figured out the TCL Roku system in about 10 minutes. That's saying something. However, TCL still has some issues. The build quality feels cheap when you touch it. The stand wobbles more than it should. And while most units are fine, there are enough horror stories about panel uniformity problems that I can't rank them higher. The upside is their return policy is usually pretty good. So if you get a lemon, you can swap it out. Just make sure you buy from a retailer that actually honors returns, because some of the smaller shops will fight you on it. Number 6 is where we find Vizio, the brand that should be doing better, but seems stuck in neutral. Vizio had this reputation as the smart budget choice back in 2015. Good enough quality, fair prices, and features that actually worked. 10 years later, they're coasting on that old reputation while the competition has passed them by. The picture quality is fine, nothing special. The smart features are clunky and filled with ads. Their remotes feel like they were designed by someone who's never actually held a remote before. But the real problem with Vizio is the firmware updates. They push updates that are supposed to improve things, but half the time they introduce new bugs. Your TV will be working fine, then boom, update, and suddenly apps are crashing, or the input switching doesn't work right. For someone who just wants their TV to work the same way every day, this is maddening. You get used to where things are, then they move everything around in an update. At number 5, we have Sony, and this is where I'm going to make some people angry. Yes, Sony makes beautiful TVs with incredible picture processing. Yes, their color accuracy is top-notch. But they're charging you luxury car prices for mid-range reliability. Sony has this reputation from the old days when they really were the gold standard. That Sony Trinitron your parents had lasted 20 years and survived everything. But modern Sony TVs don't have that same legendary durability, even though they're priced like they do. A Sony TV that costs $2,000 might have the same panel issues as an $800 TCL. You're paying extra for the name and the processing engine, which is admittedly excellent for movies. But here's the thing. For most people watching regular TV shows, news, and game shows, you won't notice that extra processing quality. What you will notice is your wallet being significantly lighter. The interface is also unnecessarily complicated. They use Android TV, which is powerful but clunky. Too many menus, too many options, too many ways to get lost trying to do simple things. My friend Margaret bought a Sony thinking she was getting the best. The picture is gorgeous, but she got so frustrated with the interface that she bought a Roku stick just to avoid using Sony's system. Number 4 brings us to Samsung, the brand that dominates store displays with blindingly bright screens and vivid colors. Walk into any electronics store, and the Samsung TVs are impossible to miss. They're cranked up to maximum brightness with demo videos designed to make your jaw drop. And in the store, it works. But take that TV home, put it in your living room with normal lighting, and suddenly something feels off. Samsung TVs are tuned for showroom impact, not living room reality. The colors are oversaturated. Skin tones look like everyone just came back from a tanning salon. Grass looks radioactive. They have all these AI processing features that constantly try to improve the picture. But half the time they just make things look artificial. That said, Samsung does some things really well. Their TVs are bright enough to handle rooms with lots of windows. The gaming features are excellent if you have grandkids who bring their PlayStations over. And the build quality is solid. These TVs feel substantial. The bigger issue for seniors is the smart interface. Samsung's Tizen system is loaded with ads and recommendations you didn't ask for. You turn on the TV and half the screen is trying to sell you something. Want to just watch regular cable? That's buried 3 menus deep. They make it deliberately harder to do simple things because they want you engaging with their content ecosystem. I had a conversation with a woman named Dorothy last month that really stuck with me. She'd saved up for a year to buy what she thought would be her dream TV, a Samsung QN90. The picture was stunning in the store. She brought it home, set it up, and within a week she was calling me, frustrated to tears. Every time she turned it on, the TV wanted her to create a Samsung account, log into services she'd never heard of, and agree to terms and conditions that scrolled for pages. She just wanted to watch the morning news with her coffee. Instead, she was spending 20 minutes clicking through prompts and declining offers. Even after all that setup, the TV kept suggesting shows she had no interest in. The home screen was cluttered with movie posters and app icons she'd never use. She told me she felt stupid, like technology had passed her by. But here's the truth. It wasn't her fault. Samsung designed that experience to be complicated because complicated keeps you engaged with their platform. They make more money that way. A simpler interface would work better for users, but it wouldn't drive as much revenue. That's the Samsung trade-off. Incredible hardware wrapped in an interface designed for profit over simplicity. Now we're in the top 3. And number 3 is LG. This might surprise people because LG makes the best OLED panels in the world. Their picture quality is stunning. Perfect blacks, infinite contrast, colors that look exactly right. Watching a movie on a good LG OLED is like looking through a window instead of at a screen. But I'm ranking them third for seniors specifically because of the price and the learning curve. LG's high-end OLEDs start at around $1,500 and go up from there. That's a significant investment. And while their WebOS interface is actually pretty good once you learn it, there's definitely a learning curve. The magic remote that you point at the screen, like a Wii controller, is neat, but takes getting used to. Some people love it, others find it confusing. The other concern with OLED is burn-in. Now, LG has mostly solved this problem with pixel shifting and screensavers, but it's still in the back of your mind. If you leave the news on all day with those static logos, you might eventually see ghost images. For most viewing habits, this isn't an issue, but it's something to be aware of. That said, if you've got the budget and you want the absolute best picture quality, LG OLED is hard to beat. Just make sure you're buying from somewhere with a good warranty. Number 2 is going to surprise a lot of people. It's Amazon Fire TV Omni QLED series. Yes, Amazon makes TVs now, and for seniors specifically, they've actually thought things through. If you already use Alexa, this TV integrates seamlessly. You can control everything with your voice. Turn on the TV, change channels, adjust volume, search for shows, all without touching the remote. For people with arthritis or vision problems, this is genuinely life-changing. My Aunt Joan got one last year. She has trouble with the small buttons on traditional remotes. Now she just talks to her TV. The picture quality is respectable, not mind-blowing but very watchable. The interface is designed to be simple. Big icons, clear labels, everything where you expect it to be. And because it's Amazon, all your Prime Video content is right there. If you watch a lot of Amazon shows, this makes everything easier. The downsides are minimal for the target audience. Tech enthusiasts will complain that it's not as bright as Samsung or as accurate as Sony, but for everyday viewing, it's more than adequate. The only real negative is that the home screen does try to sell you things, but that's true of most smart TVs now. And now, the number 1 TV brand for seniors in 2025. LG's mid-range LED models, specifically the QNED series. Wait, didn't I just rank LG at number 3? Yes, but I was talking about their expensive OLEDs. This is different. LG's QNED TVs in the $800 to $1,200 range offer the best combination of picture quality, ease of use, reliability, and value that I've found for seniors. The picture is bright, colors are natural, and the viewing angles are excellent, so everyone in the room sees the same quality image. The WebOS interface is intuitive, with large, readable icons and a simple layout. The remote has clearly labeled buttons that are big enough to find by feel. There's a dedicated Netflix button, a dedicated Prime button, and actual number buttons for changing channels, which so many modern remotes have eliminated. Build quality is solid. These TVs are built to last. And LG's customer service is actually responsive when you need help. But here's the real reason they're number 1. These TVs just work. You set them up once and they work the same way every day. No surprise updates that change everything. No features that stop working randomly. No menus that mysteriously rearrange themselves. For someone who wants to turn on the TV, watch their shows, and turn it off without any drama, this is perfect. My parents bought one 2 years ago and haven't had a single issue. That's the kind of reliability that matters. So let's wrap this up with actual advice you can use. If you're shopping for a TV and you're over 60, here's your strategy. First, avoid anything under $400 unless it's a small bedroom TV. Those ultra-cheap sets are designed to fail. Second, stick with the middle-tier models from good brands. You don't need the flagship, but don't go bottom tier either. That sweet spot, around $800 to $1,200, is where you find the best value. Third, buy from retailers with strong return policies. If something doesn't work right in the first 30 days, you want to be able to return it without a fight. Fourth, ignore the salesperson who tries to upsell you to the most expensive model. They're working on commission. You don't need 8K resolution or 120 Hz refresh rates for watching Wheel of Fortune. And finally, remember that a TV is supposed to make your life easier and more enjoyable, not more complicated. If you're spending more time fighting with your TV than watching it, you bought the wrong TV. The best TV for you is the one that disappears, the one you stop thinking about because it just works every time you need it. That's worth more than any spec sheet or feature list. Now you know which brands to trust and which ones to avoid. So go make a decision. You'll still be happy with 5 years from now. One more thing before you go. I want you to think about why you're buying a new TV in the first place. Maybe your old one finally died after 15 faithful years. Maybe you're moving to a new place and want a fresh start. Maybe your kids or grandkids told you it was time to upgrade. Whatever the reason, this purchase should bring you joy, not stress. Television is how we relax after a long day, how we stay connected to the world, how we share moments with family when they visit. You deserve a TV that enhances those experiences instead of complicating them. Don't let anyone make you feel bad for wanting something simple and reliable. That's not being behind the times, that's being smart. The technology should serve you, not the other way around. And if you walk into a store and someone talks down to you or tries to confuse you with jargon, walk out. Your money spends just as well at the next store, and there are plenty of salespeople who will treat you with the respect you deserve. Remember, the most expensive TV isn't always the best TV. And the TV with the most features isn't always the most useful TV. The best TV is the one that fits your life, your budget, and your needs.